Hello, everybody, wherever you are, and welcome to this new webinar, Space Design for a New Extraterrestrial Human Being, produced by the Cultural Considerations Working Group of the Moon Village Association. After the summer holidays, we start again offering the public the opportunity to listen to some excellent scholars talking about cultural issues connected with the space exploration, especially the moon. Today, we are going to address a topic which is fundamental for the well-being of the people who will go to space and settle on the moon. We know that traveling in space is dangerous and uncomfortable. But there are people here on Earth who are working to make spacefaring a little bit less uncomfortable and safer. Among those are the space designers. Design needs vision, produces innovation, and is a sort of a bridge between science and beauty, between engineering and technology on one side, and the culture, art, and economy on the other. It aims to increase the comfort of living in space and in extreme environments, and it always takes the human sensible factors into consideration. Space design is a new discipline and has found in Italy, which is famous for other branches of design, interior, fashion, etc., the proper place, Milan, where else, to flourish and achieve outstanding results. Annalisa Dominoni and Benedetto Quaquaro, our speakers today, are architects and designers and teach at the Politecnico in Milan a course called Space for Inspiration, that they founded back in 2017, and that is supported by ESA. In their career, they have designed extraterrestrial habitation modules and tools that have been used by astronauts on board the International Space Station. And they have helped assert the design's role and purpose in the space field. Annalisa Dominoni wrote also a few books, and his latest is Design of Supporting Systems for Life in Outer Space, a design perspective on space missions near Earth and beyond, published by Springer in 2020. I don't want to spoil their presentation, but I'd like to quote a sentence of their description of this webinar. In this webinar is presented the new emerging discipline of space design, in between space and Earth, that anticipates the scenario of the future human space missions. If astronauts feel better in a comfortable environment, considering physiological, psychological, and emotional factors, their performance and the success of the whole mission increase. Let me add just some information for the registries. After the presentation, there will be, as usual, a 10-minute Q&A session run by my co-chair, Arthur Woods. You can ask questions by writing through the chat button. If some of your friends could not attend this webinar, tell them that they can view the recording on our website, Lunarology Space, in just a few days, and also on the YouTube channel of the Moon Village Association. Annalisa, Benedetto, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Remo, for this great presentation. And we are very happy to be with you. this evening. And now we would like to share the screen.
Okay. Okay. Could you properly see?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Let's go. Let's start.
So just 2 words about Benedetto and I to join something more than Remo said. We are architects and design both, and we have a PhD in space design. And we led the design research activity at the Department of Design of Politecnico di Milano. And also we have this course named Space for Inspiration that is recognized and supported by the European Space Agency. This is a course that we created and led at the Politecnico di Milano inside the School of Design. Is an international course inside the Master of Science called Integrated Product Design. And we have more than 20 years of experience in researching and designers for space, among which habitation model for spaceships, Moon and Mars bases, and also tools that have been experimented on board the ISS by astronauts. Oh, sorry. Okay. I've been also principal investigator of several experiments that have been tested on board the International Space Station, including VEST, that is an integrated product system for intravehicular activities inside the Marco Polo missions, that receive also the Compasso d'Oro 2020 award for the design research, and GOAL, that is garments for orbital activities in weightlessness during the Naden mission, which received the Naden mission award for the success of the mission. And I've written more than 200 scientific publications, papers and books, which have contributed to defining new discipline in space design and the role of design in space. You can see some publication here, and the last book, that is Design of Supporting System for Life in Outer Space, edited by Springer, in which I try to resume all my experience of 20 years, putting some examples of project research and also results regarding the Space for Inspiration course.
Then, in addition to the academic and research activity that we do at Politecnico, in 2011, with Annalisa, we found A+B Studio, which is a professional firm. We founded with the aim of making design in very different areas, contaminating research and technological innovation with the poetry. And so the constant research of transversality and the multidisciplinarity approach we normally use to operate in very different areas, and drive us to act as something like a bridge between science, technology, and beauty. Transportation design, we made transportation design for big industry, fashion tech, collection of objects and furniture for companies. But we also want to design some small objects and limited edition for art galleries and design galleries. Among our recent projects, an important one is the new Leonardo trains that we designed for the municipality of Milano, the ATM company. In 2015, they are the Expo train produced by Hitachi Rail, and now they are normally used on the Milano Underground.
And in the train, we design the exterior and the interior, trying to create a sort of purity inside, according, of course, with all the limitation that this kind of big project you can imagine. It was very difficult.
But if you think to space like a very hard environment, we can assume that also in the rush hour in Milano, the underground train is something like a very hard
we can consider it an extreme environment.
Extreme environment. So another project that then we ran is this acoustic object that is called Pinna. It's designed for Caimi Brevetti in 2019. As the preview projects of the train, also this project received the ADI Design Index Award and several other awards. For this object, we've been nominated Italian Design Ambassadors in 2020-2022. We will see later how this object that is part of our professional works is strictly linked to our research on wellness in space.
This because we design for space, but also we act like a bridge between science and beauty, but also space and her, try to creating spin-off and spin-in. In this case, involving Italian companies to create objects or technological solution that could be used in space to increase the well-being of astronauts on board the ISS, or vice versa, take some space technologies that can be translated and applied in different way on Earth.
So next, are you ready to take off? We will drive you into space, beyond the Earth, in the cosmic space, in the infinite, in the unknown. What you see now in our screen is what we call the overview effect, and this is an expansion of consciousness that normally astronauts experience by looking at the Earth from the outside. The Earth looks so small, so fragile, so unprotected, but also looks like without territorial boundaries and social division, as there is no competition of race or religion. It's a great leap of scale that makes you dizzy, because we can experience all our planet from a different point of view. Oh, what is design?
So we can see again Pinna, our project from Caimi Brovetti, that help us to explain you or more better give you our definition of design, because there are many. So what is design for us? When we define a design product, we mean to describe beautiful and well-made objects made in Italy. Our country, in fact, is famous and recognized worldwide for design, creativity, and beauty. But design for us is much more than that. It's visionary. Design is a process that generates innovation. And this is a product that combines two very different know-how. You can see the textile is acoustic fabrics made with snow sound technology by Caimi Brovetti, that is an Italian company specialized in acoustic research. And this sort of acoustic fabrics is mixed with the pleating made by a luxury fashion company that is specialized in this technology. And this create this new product. And in addition to generating a surprising shapes, also increase the pleating, increase the acoustic performance of the product. We are inside the acoustic laboratory in Caimi Brovetti to test the product, and we put this picture to give you an idea of the dimension of the objects that can be put inside collective spaces in different way, in the wall, in the ceiling, in offices, schools, and it's quite iconic objects.
But what is important is that this kind of technology was used for the first time. We used for the first time plating the fabric, and this has increased the performance. And we do this kind of experiment during a space design workshop in which we involve with the companies. And now this kind of fabric that use this, it's a very innovative technology, is tested by NASA to be used inside the Columbus module. And then we will see later, we foresee to use it in different application on board in the ISS. So this is an aspect important in our work, that is the mix between what we do, we project on the Earth, and what we project for the space. They are not two separate words, but are two linked words from the projector point of view in our vision.
So what design can do for space? This is a picture of the ISS. And in fact, design works at the same way for Earth and in space, because we work for human beings. And design places the human beings at the center, try to interpret their needs, and goes beyond trying something to anticipate them. Because if an astronaut lives and works in a comfortable environment and with more efficient equipment, the performance increases and can greatly affect the success of the mission at the end. And
what does it mean to live in the space? In space, we normally experience the total disorientation and what we call spatial transfiguration. In fact, there is no more an up and down and high and low, and the left and the right are different concepts because it's something that we are not assumed. We are not driven from the gravity force, which is the force with that establishes the main direction on the Earth. On the ISS, all the direction are convention, are not directly experienced. And also the feeling of not having weight and being able to float and rotate with a great facility could make the formation of the perception of ourselves, but also the surrounding spaces. The body, in some way, is transformed in relation to the unknown environment. It's an environment that has different laws, and all our experience is not part of our common experience on the Earth. So we can tell that living in space means in starting over, a sort of newborn, being born again. The confinement is very important part. There are two conditions that characterize the space environment that differ most from the Earth: the confinement and reduced gravity. In the recent past, during the COVID lockdown, we experienced what in somehow means to be confined. Being locked into a small, in some cases, small environment for several months without the possibility to go out or even open a window to take a breath of air, has a strong impact on our physiology, but also on the psychology. Imagine, translate this for astronaut that lives in a more confinement and more closed environment. Because the confinement involves a deprivation that is due to the lack of natural stimuli, like air, wind, the contact with the earth or the leaves. There are a lot of leaves. Also, the lack of natural lights alters the circadian rhythms. Sleep and wakefulness are so different. It's not so simple. And the fact that the perception of space and time, it could give rise to depression, sense of loneliness, but also stress, and something that we call lack of privacy. They are people in a very, very close environment.
Can see in this
you
picture.
Can see this kind of picture, what kind of not comfortable environment they experience. Also, microgravity affects the shape, the posture, and the way of our body function. Normally, without gravity, the spine increase, it could increase up to 7 centimeters. The fluids are normally poured to the upper part, giving rise to this kind of phenomenon that we call puffy face. It's something of your face rise. The new posture that is created is called normally neutral body posture, NBP, and approach they are taken what we normally do. We can assimilate this to the posture that we have underwater. The force that normally exert on objects and the movement must be all recalibrated to a new proprioception, because we are totally free of a construction of gravity. A new body, we can tell that something like a new body is born, is more sensitive, and further will give into change in relation to the unknown environment. And this is the more topics that it's at the top of the consideration that we do when we normally project for a space. Another important thing is that for all the other kinds of design, we can experience on the Earth what we can do, but the absence of gravity, we all can only imagine how it is. So we have to foresee how all the objects will react. Not only our gesture, but also all the objects behave in a different way, respectively from the Earth.
Of course, the description of microgravity confined environments of Benedetto is through the lens of design. So all our information regards our way to look at space, at astronauts, try to increase their performance and well-beings. And during the year, architects and designers have tried from the beginning to make life in space more comfortable. Maybe no more people know that the first architect was a woman. Galina Balashova was the first to integrate into the technical language of space engineering a more expressive language. She's very famous for her watercolors, has this representing the Russian station Mir, or also in this other example, there are two interiors of the Soyuz.
We can tell that overall they are art masterpieces.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. From a visual point of view,
they are so
we found it so beautiful and fantastic, but it's impressive that at here that they are done. They are very, very innovative.
Disruptive.
It's very disruptive.
And she was the first, in fact, highlighting how important is the use of color, as well as concepts of semiotics, in order to create comfortable living spaces where cosmonauts could feel at home. The second architect was an American one, is Remo, and he designed the Skylab, the first laboratory of NASA, and he experimented with innovative anchor systems. For example, you can see these grids in the floor where astronauts wore shoes with triangular hills that could fit into the floor grids. It's quite an innovative system that in fact didn't work so well. Like, for example, the first and only space shower. The astronaut had to wear a mouthpiece so as not to suffocate, while inside a series of nozzles distributes water for washing and then reabsorb it at the end of the shower. It was a very complicated system that took 1 hour to prepare the showers and to replace the showers after. And so NASA decided not to use it in the next mission. And in microgravity, of course, you know that water does not fall and remains attached to the skin. It is difficult to remove. And for that reason, astronauts now on board the ISS use only cleansing wipes. So we can see that the shower has not been solved for the moment. But we think that the most interesting innovation that Remo Lowly introduced in the Skylab was the first window to be able to look out that you can see on the top of the picture.
He had to struggle because it was very, very hard for him to make this idea accepted because it's difficult, very difficult to make a hole into the capsule. But he said we want, and as a good designer, was able to drive his idea to the conclusion.
Yeah, and now we can see the evolution of design of innovation in space, because this solution of the small window has been expanded today. We have the cupola, the dome made in Italy by Italy Salinas Space, which is much larger.
This is okay. This is the interior, the inside of Columbus, the European laboratory, the module for ISS. You see that despite the projects of architect and designer trying to improve the habitability in space, this is how the interiors of Colombo Laboratory on ISS look today. And it's a very, very chaotic and difficult to code environment.
And architect and designer have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, it's clear that there is still a lot to be done. A design must have the priority and a strategic role. Space design is really an emerging discipline that can make an important contribution to increase comfort that will be on board. We normally are some like a pioneer in this kind of discipline, that we try to spread this assumption worldwide, because we think that the role of space design is really, really important. And you can see, for example, this is a new sensory space station, and it's a project that Italia Salinas Space commissioned us And it's the first time that the space agency think to introduce an habitable model for something like it's the free time and entertainment of astronauts. In our space project, we like to go beyond the functional aspects, because we have to consider all the physiological and emotional aspects, because they have a very, very great influence on how we behave, on our behaviors. Into this project, we work on the quality of the light and color, along the space configuration of the furnishing that could change according to the various activity carried out of astronauts. And so we have proposed flexible rollers that can become comfortable sofa. They are upholstered and they are acoustic reducer. And you can sit there to observe the outdoor, that's shown from the window, into a comfortable environment, while inside this kind of module, they are containers that could store all the stuff that is necessary for the space. The space into the space is really important, because it's very crowded.
And they are movable.
They are movable
around the ring.
Yeah.
The station.
The inner ring is soft, and all the walls are covered by acoustic textile, and slowly upholstered in order to be more domestic, more warm, the feeling, but also to cut the sound noise, and to make all the perception of the environment really cozy, really domestic.
Like the example of Galina Balashova.
Exactly.
Try feel the astronauts at home. Also, we gave a lot of importance to light, according the quality of light with the circadian rhythms, and the color of light that can change respect to the different activities that astronauts can play on board of this new station.
And we also provided textile partitions that are collapsible, and some collapsible chaise longue that you can fold and unfold, that could allow different use of the space, in order also to ensure the privacy and try to confine more some part of the environment, in order to make astronauts to be in a reserved part of the interior.
As a designer, for us, it's very important overall for space. Give a very light solution that don't have a strong impact on the station. So textile is very easy.
Light.
It's very light and can assume different kind of configuration. And the innovation research now about textile is very, very interesting for this case.
And you can easily take off and take in.
For security reasons.
For security, that is very important. And also in the external part, we designed, we act with the design, because we try to make this modular station really recognizable. So the windows are different shapes. You see they're round and rectangular. They become like jewels, like brights inside a ring, an special ring. And this is what produces a strong identity for this model. And this was one of the brief requests
of Thales Alenia Space, yes.
because they really want to do something that could be recognizable,
yeah,
and like a state of declaration of the Italian powerness of design.
Made in Italy.
The Made in Italy
space
design.
station. Because the idea is that in the next future, we'll have many space stations around the Earth, around the Moon. And so it became very important to be recognizable respect to the other. Also, if we look to the private companies that have strong brand and they want to be identified very, very clearly. Benedetto before introduced shortly a methodology that we created specific for space that we call EUGD, Use and Gesture Design. And you can see the astronaut Roberto Vittori during one of my experiments on board the ISS and making a strict procedure for the EVA mission. And in this case, design for space requires a great ability to predict how an object will behave in space, how it will be used, and how it will relate to the surrounding environments that is not part of our experience on Earth. So the idea that we are in gravity and all our experience as designer is affected to this condition, give more importance to this ability to predict, because we have really to imagine gestures that must therefore be designed together with new objects. And that means also that design can have a decisive influence on the creation of new gestures and behaviors. This methodology, use and gesture design, is the topic that we teach to our students, and in which gestures are designed together with the new objects. You can see in this picture the importance for us of the analysis of everyday gestures on Earth that can inspire new products in space. For example, the gesture of taking a slice from an orange inspired this edible packaging project developed within the Space for Inspiration course. Is a project of the third year. And since 2017, every year we develop more or less 25 projects together with about 70 students who come from all over the world to attend our course.
So we have also to say that our school is now fifth in the world ranking of design school.
Yeah.
So we are able to select really very skilled
the best students.
The best students. We have a lot of requests to come to Milano to
for our course.
So
It's a great satisfaction because there are students that ask us if they think attend a course, and to attend our space design course, they made all the 2 years of the Master of Science in Integrated Product Design. That is
I think that also because the offer of our school is really high level. We are also the first public school, because the four schools that are behind us are private school
with very few students. It's quite a difference of number.
Yeah.
And we are quite proud of this.
Absolutely.
This is an example of another must that we teach to our students, that is try to turn microgravity into an advantage. So not considering microgravity a limitation, but look with the lens of design, imagine new gestures, new behaviors and activities that could be done only in microgravity. This is a project in which we have involved Barilla to create new shapes of 3D food with sauces inside, and also ANCAP, that is another Italian company, created tools for food, and was with Virgin Galactic, because the topic of the project was create a space hotel, experimenting food, wine experience in a great space hotel. And so coming back to turning microgravity into an advantage, in this case you can see how to taste wine from a ring, because the glass is not needed, and the new forms support the capillarity of liquids that become more dense.
Here we are in Turin by Thales Alenia Space at the final presentation of our project. The second year we do this theme of a new Cislunar Gateway Station, and the station that will orbit around the moon in the coming years. For us and for it's very important to make our students face to deal with real companies and problems, real technologies. All our projects are not only ideas or good video or images. It's not only beautiful design, but start from a concrete basis of feasibility and every project can become a real product to be used on ISS, or either could become a spin-off or spin-in on the Earth. That's the reason because we normally try to collaborate with main companies, try to involve different companies in our course in order to have a real interface of what we are doing with the project. Every year, according to the team that we established with ISA, we select 2 or 3 companies and we collaborate with them. For example, here It was the year that we worked on the EVA suites. So they're the garments that you have to wear to go outside in the space, because we not only design stations, but we design objects, tools, and also we design experience. That is important. This image that could seem strange is an image on the small drones on the right side that allows the space tourists to have a spacewalk in total freedom without anchor or links, but safety, because this small drone could follow the astronaut closely and is ready to embrace him and bring him back inside the station in order to experience at its best this extravehicular activity. This project was developed with Dainese, which is an Italian company leader on the motorcycle garments, but also a company that is really space addicted. They realize a biosuits for NASA. So they are an Italian excellence, and as many companies, we are very happy to involve in our course.
They have also a great research laboratory on airbags, trying to imagine new use and application for airbags in specific security suits.
And this kind of project allow me to introduce another particularity, because this is the same project of the previous slide, but we work on a special aspect, that the possibility to generate spin-off and spin-in. In this case, the drone that could assist the astronaut for an extravehicular spacewalk could be reprojected and used to be used underwater to assist the humans in exploration of the deep sea. It's always a extreme environment, but the same concept, the same idea could be turned off and turned in a different way. It's like a process of the idea that go from the Earth to the space and they come back to the Earth. This is very important from our point of view, because it allows the design to spread the field of possibility and also make a very interesting perspective for the companies that decide to follow this kind of approach and invest on this kind of process.
And if you like, in this case, the complete drone equipment can find application to allow safer diving. So it's very interesting for the Earth companies to be inspired by space.
This is another way of thinking, and it's what we call spinning. And we use a tool that is normally used on the Earth, like the prosthesis of Pistorius and the other runner, and assuming the consideration that on the Earth, on the moon surface, the gravity is really lower, so you can make big jumps, and which sends a kind of prosthesis like this, that in this case are movable, so you can use, but you can only make it in a rest position. You can go very fast on the moon surface. The project is really, it's really complex. They have also a small stabilizer gyroscope on the back in order to make you a rectilinear trajectory. But it's really important, the fact that we have an existing technology, and we say, how could be used on the moon surface to improve somehow or something. In this case, could increase the mobility. This is another spin-in, and it's a project that we ran with a company, with an Italian company, light company that is called Foscarini. We worked that year. We worked on the light in the interior of the space station. This is take inspiration for what in Japan called komorebi. Komorebi is a word that is not simply translatable in English and means
also in Italian.
Also in Italian, and means more or less the light that filtered through the leaves of the tree and create an atmosphere. In this project, artificial projector of windows in the ISS reproduce the change of light through the day and re-establish subliminal circadian rhythms that normally are lacked by they are altered by the lack of stimuli in natural light. We found this kind of imposition really interesting. Also, in this case, we move from an observation of a phenomenon on the Earth and we say how can apply it in the space.
Also in confined environments.
Exactly.
You can see the difference. So the light change according to the different time during the day, giving the idea that outside
of time changing.
There is the sun and you are at home,
yeah,
and everything is well. Okay, this is another example in which we design fitness equipment for the ISS. In this project, we involve technology that is the leader in Italy for fitness equipment, but not only in Italy. We think we all know this company. And it's another spinning from Earth to space, because in this project, we were inspired by the acrobats exercise to recreate terrestrial sports inside the space station to be practiced in pairs or in groups. It's part of a larger fitness project that we developed. And you know that is fundamental requirements is to try to offer astronaut exercise that are also fun, since sorry, they are forced to do 3 hours of exercise a day to maintain muscle mass and counteract bone decalcification. And in this case, we go beyond the treadmill and the veloergometer. There are usual heart exercise machine adapted in space. So the idea is to create something really new that can take advantage for the microgravity. And so we choose acrobats because it's a sort of terrestrial sports that seems to be less gravity-like movement. So we thought there was a great example to follow.
Sorry to interrupt you. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
We are almost at the end of our time.
Okay.
So I'll ask you to go to conclusions.
Sí, okay.
Yes, we have just 5 slides. We can go very fast, just 2 minutes. Okay.
Great, great.
Okay, so here we have an example of textile screen for the gateway, which is Lunar Station. And so you can see how prime flexible textile screen overlapped on the racks can transform the interior of the ISS by also creating a visual order that helps astronauts move better and be more efficient. In this picture, we can see the collaboration with Virgin Galactic for the Wellness Space Hotel. And the idea was to involve also Jacuzzi, trying experiment new forms and density of water in microgravity. This is pasta in 3D with Barilla and wine tasting experience that we have already introduced at the beginning.
Here, this year, the last year, we faced this project for interplanetary human exploration that underlined the role of design for sustainability. This structure, a structure that facilitated the growth, the transformation, and work on transformation of microalgae, that is the food of the future, on the surface of the moon, in order to obtain protein and food. And also the second thing that we run this year is we start from a call from ESA concerning the parastronauts. ESA launched a call for parastronauts to be on board to fly on ISS. And then we thought that in microgravity, we are more or less all disabled. And our goal has been to design new prosthetic object for both astronauts and parastronauts. And with the aim to amplify the performances on board in the International Space Station. We have to consider the prosthesis like extension or something motor skill, which in microgravity undergoes strong alteration, compromising the stability and the movement.
And this two project was selected by the first festival of the New European Bauhaus, and we made an event, an exhibition last June in Milano, in which students presented their works. We were also supported by Focus, that is the best scientific magazine in Italy, and this exhibition had a big success, and the name is just Space Design for New Human Beings.
Yeah, and that we have to conclude, and we conclude with this image of a spaceship that is approaching Mars. That is the next destination after the moon. And with the question, why a space design course? Because space will increasingly affect people's life. And the next generation will have the privilege to explore the new space. And design surely will be a major driver of innovation and make a bridge between science, technology, and beauty. That our thought. Thank you very much. We terminate.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your great presentation. It was really wonderful to see these new objects, these new environments, and you really succeeded in joining technology and art, technology and beauty. Thank you very much. I wonder, Arthur, if you have some questions.
I don't see any questions in the chat or in the question and A, but I also wanted to say I really enjoyed your presentation. And I actually took a note down in the very beginning when you mentioned science, technology, and beauty, because I think beauty, if a lot of the world problems could be looked at with beauty in mind, a lot of these problems would be solved, you know? So, and you ended your presentation with those three things again. I thought that was very, very good. But I have one question, the role of feasibility and design. You know, when the design is there, it has to have a feasibility, but also the feasibility needs a design. So what is the interplay between design and feasibility?
Obviously, the link is a great work, because you have to do a great work in order to make some idea feasible. We normally start from assumption that you can have different grade of innovation. You can take an existing technology or an existing thing and try to use in a different way. Or maybe also in this moment, we have a lot of new technologies that are rising. And not all are so ready to be used, but we can imagine that they could be easily used, access to the public into a very short time. So we normally want to check this kind of aspect, because otherwise it is science fiction. Yeah. That it's okay, because also science fiction is okay, because
it's not our work.
But it's not our work. Our work is to make project, and so we
make project with company. So considering that we have so many different projects in different areas, we are going to choose for each project the best company with the best know-how that can support us with technology and feasibility to check.
Yeah, otherwise there is a great importance of the conviction of the designer, because as Annalisa told, Remo Loewy want a window in the, and the engineer, they say, no, why? Why? Because it's nice.
Not necessary.
It's not necessary.
Why?
We normally face also the astronauts, because astronauts normally are military, very well skilled, and they are more similar to robots than human. And so they say, why? I don't care comfort. I'm really skilled.
But we try to convince that it's not just a question of comfort, of make astronauts feel better. But if astronauts feel better, the mission results increase. It's very simple. It's not just for astronauts, it's for the mission.
Yeah, so what is important is really the energy that you put into a project. And the more energy you put in, the more possibility to be feasible.
Yeah. So we have a question from the audience, from Kerry Beccaril. He goes, thank you for your presentation. He's been following your course and he hopes to take one in the future as a designer. How do you go about testing project with users concerning that on Earth we have gravity and the test is not in the same environment?
Yeah. This is the great topic of all the. There is some possibility of a simulation of absence of gravity in a pool, for example, in Cologne. There is in Darmstadt in the astronaut center. There is a great pool in which you can experience something that is similar to the microgravity, but it's not the same. And this is because we think that our kind of work is very important, because it pushes the designers to imagine something that is not here. So obviously, at the end has to be tested, but the possibility that the test will fail is really compared to the the real deep of your study. The more you will deep the phenomenon and the possibility as to evolve, the most possibility that the experiment will run. So at the end, also the first parachute, they has to think, but at the end, someone has to jump for the first time. So we say, our work is to make the one that jump for the first time, the more confident as possible.
Great.
Have you ever tried to be the first to jump?
Yeah, sure. I say that if you're normally are convinced, you should. I think that the engineer that project the older second circle of the ISS should be ready to drink his urine depurated, as they could do in the, because if you not put your person in the first in phase, you are not credible. So if I'm convinced, I will try.
Okay, we have another question from Lisa Pettibone. She is interested in the way you developed light in the spaces, such as light filtering through the trees or windows. How was this received?
It's how it's you have
The
to,
effects of it, yeah.
Yeah, you have a lot of data. A lot of data are about how the body will behave into this kind of environment. Obviously, not everybody is similar, so you have data and the statistical data, and you have to analyze that and try to make supposition, and like every project, then to try to do your work in order to correct this affection. It's as every project, you start from an idea, from a suggestion. For example, the example we show you about Komorebi, we start from a suggestion, an observational phenomenon, but then we cross this kind of idea through a lot of data in order to see if it could work. And so what is important for this designer is also to have interaction with different kind of scientists. So we normally interact with medicine, with physiologists, psychologists. So there is a lot of interaction with different kind of science.
And maybe also Lisa wanted to know, such as light filtering through trees or windows, how we saw this. The idea, as usual, is to find something very simple, very light, that has a light impact on the station. In this case, the idea of the leaves and the tree through light is given simply from pattern that we can put on the light that change according with the time.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that we are over our time. It was really very, very interesting. Let's be in touch. And I really hope that we can have you again in some other webinar. And thank you for everything.
Yes, thank you very much. And for everybody, we will make a recording of this will be put onto our website on lunarology.space in a few days. And anybody will definitely recommend to come and see it because it was really a fantastic presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a nice day.
Bye.